Hello guys, today I wanted to sit down and talk about perfectionism because honestly I'm so sick and tired of the way perfectionism is ruining my projects and interrupting the things that I do. So just in order to figure it out, I wanted to sit down and define what it is, why I feel it is so bad, and based on the research that I've done, I also want to, define what are the things that I can do now in order to fix it and cure my perfectionism in a sense. So if you're interested, stay with me. If you're not, then have a beautiful day and let's get into it. But first I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, my cat. Because any video is better when my cat is in it. I used to think that perfectionism is my strength. I even remember telling about it proudly in my job interviews, but as time went on, I figured that it is actually my weakness, and it is actually pushing me back. Let me explain. First, let's figure out the terms. I know that many people split perfectionism into like healthy one and then toxic one, where healthy one is someone who is aiming to achieve some big goal while enjoying the process, making mistakes, learning from mistakes. Well, generally the point is that they are not so keen on the result, while they enjoy the process mostly. They're not afraid of mistakes, they are not afraid of being judged by other people, and all these kinds of things. For me, it sounds like a normal, healthy behavior. So I would think about this definition as a norm. And then here comes the perfectionism. So what it means being a perfectionist to me. So perfectionist is someone who is only caring about the result, and the result has to be perfect. So they don't enjoy the ride, they don't enjoy the process itself. Any mistake just makes them feel completely shattered, and they care about what people think, they care about being judged, and most of all they care if somebody tells that what they do is not good enough, is not perfect enough. So perfectionist is someone who likes to plan everything from the beginning to the end in order to feel like, okay, I've got a plan, it is perfect, and I gotta make it perfectly in each and every single step. Well, in the end, plan doesn't work out usually, and perfectionist is just, they become really frustrated and really sad and things like that. So here is the term. And you're looking at someone who quite frequently acts like a perfectionist, especially at work. And I think it's clear and obvious why it is really bad. First of all, perfectionism makes you really inflexible, so you cannot adapt to the changing things so fast and easy as people who are like normal sort of people do. So when you're a perfectionist, you have a plan, you have a perfect idea in your mind, and whenever something goes wrong, and as I said, it usually something always goes wrong, not according to the plan, you can start experiencing like very bad emotions, and you might try to push it all back into the like flow that you wanted to have originally, while what you should actually be doing is adapting to the new circumstances and changing your approach. I do believe that perfectionism is something that can lead a person to anxiety and burnout, definitely, especially when it comes to work, but probably in some other areas of your life. I think also perfectionism can lead you to procrastination. So how it works is that if you're a perfectionist and then you have a perfect plan, and again something goes wrong or you experience some, difficulties on the way, you might start to want to procrastinate just because you believe that you can no longer do that perfectly, or you will no longer be able to achieve perfect result. So in this case, it's better to just do nothing than, do something and experience a fail or not so perfect result. So I think that, perfectionism and procrastination are like two biggest friends, maybe, in my own experience at least. Also, perfectionists tend to be quite over-controlling sometimes, and this all comes down from the previous things that I mentioned. So if you're a perfectionist, you want to control it all, and you also probably believe that you're the only person who can do it perfectly. But the thing is that you're the only person who can do it sort of and control what you do. You cannot be dependent on other people's decisions and ideas. You'd rather do it yourself because only that way it can be perfect. And again, this just makes it so inflexible, and over-controlling people are quite frequently just really annoying in my experience. And finally, in my own experience, and also I'm a strong believer that perfectionism is simply the result of the lack of self-confidence. So if you're not self-confident, of course you tend to want to plan it all, to figure it all out, to be perfect, to not be judged by other people, because if any of that happens, it just makes you believe that you're not good enough, which you usually do if you don't have normal self-esteem. So yes, it's not like the consequence or the bad side of it is just a fact. And I think it is very important to understand that when we're talking about perfectionism. Now, I have some examples from my own life of how perfectionism has ruined something or just prevented me from doing something. Starting off with this YouTube channel, I've been waiting so long. I wanted it so much, but I've been postponing it. I've been procrastinated. I've had several attempts, but again, every time it wasn't perfect, I was just like, well, I suck. All of those videos are so amazing that I see on the internet. I'd rather do nothing. I'm a failure and stuff like that, which is so disturbing and demotivating to think about it. But here I am now, and yes, my videos are not perfect, and I receive a lot of comments about how can I potentially improve that, but I enjoy the ride. I enjoy the process. I'm so happy that I'm here. So this is a big example of something that I could have started so much earlier and maybe experienced these great emotions earlier, but again, here we are now. So another example is how perfectionism can mess up my habits. So imagine you have like a habit tracker for 30 days and you said to yourself, I'm gonna do sports every single day. And you start like day 1, day 2, day 3, everything going fine, but then on the 4th day, something happens. I don't know, you need to go pick up your grandma from the airport, or something happens at work, you have to stay long, or your kid is in trouble, whatever. So you couldn't do like 2 hours of sports that you wanted to. And how perfectionists can ruin it is that even if you have like 30 minutes that you can dedicate to doing some exercise, anything, you would rather not do it because it's not perfect enough. It's not how you imagine it. It's not how you plan. Everything goes into ruins. Like all of your habit tracker can be thrown into trash and forgotten about it. And the worst thing is that if the next day you still have 2 hours, there's a big chance you're not gonna do anything because you already messed it up yesterday. So you either have to start from the beginning and do it perfectly this time, or you just do nothing. I have experienced it so many times, and this is not good, this is not healthy, this is not getting me anywhere. Essentially, perfectionism was always pushing me back and made me feel really bad if something was not going according to my perfect plan, or if I was receiving bad feedback. So usually I would get really disappointed, I would get really sarcastic, and I might even start to sabotage the whole process in order for it to be like completely destroyed so we can start over and make it perfect this time. Now, we're not getting into details where it is coming from, that's up to me and my therapist, I guess, or even, well, let's not care about what it comes from. If we have a problem, they say a big part of fixing the problem is just accepting that you have one. So I have accepted and I have understood it, but what can I do about it? I remember I thought that the opposite of perfectionism is not given a single, but of course it doesn't work that well, because not caring about anything at all might be, I guess, even worse than perfectionism, because it is artificially making yourself believe that you don't care and that you're not going to do anything, but it's actually the same thing. You're not caring or doing anything just because you feel like if you start caring and start doing anything, then it's gonna be bad, it's not gonna be perfect, you're gonna fail, and then you just won't be able to handle it. So not caring is not the solution. I spent a little bit of a time and did a bit of research. I watched a million videos on YouTube. I read some articles in the internet to figure out what other things we can do to actually stop being so perfect. Starting with number 1, which is probably one of the most important ones, is redefining success. What it means is that you gotta sit down and you have to redefine success, what it means for you. Maybe you should even do it for every single project or situation where you experience perfectionist traits. So success for perfectionists can be just simply a perfect result, flawless, with no bad comments, nothing at all. We're pushing that aside. This is not the definition that is working. So, on the other hand, success can be like enjoying the process, learning from your mistakes, analyzing your behavior, just getting better and getting experience from the things in order to use them in your future life. This also sounds like a success to me. So success doesn't have to be like a result. The process can be a success as well. Like a small example could be, back in the day, I was really hesitant to give my opinion on the calls because I always felt that it is not good enough, it is not contributing enough. But in the end, I managed to overcome myself. And now even if I say stupid things, I don't care because I say them. And I'm even proud if I say something stupid, if I ask some idiotic question. Second thing is, well, enjoying the process. I already talked about it. So this is what is success now to me. Any project, anything that you do, it consists of like 1 billion steps inside of it. And you can enjoy each and every one of them. You can enjoy making mistakes and you can enjoy achieving something. You can enjoy collaborating with people, learning something new. You know, the list is endless. The thing is, yes, stop caring so much about the results. If you enjoy the process and you are being really attentive to what you do, then eventually the result is going to be great. Even if you don't achieve like what was your original milestone, the result, I think, would be great because you learn something along the way. I also try to focus on my accomplishments. So even if there is a process where I'm not maybe performing that well, I would sit down at the end of the day and I would write at least 3 to 5 things that I'm proud of today when it comes, for example, to work. Sometimes it's quite hard to remember those things, and sometimes they can be even small, like saying something on the call or writing that message that you felt like you gotta write but you were hesitant because what if it is stupid? So if you do that, then you write it down and it makes me feel good and it makes me learn that this is actually good and nothing bad happens. The world is not ending. People don't treat you worse than they do because you ask that questions. So this is something that I think is really, really valuable in the whole process. Also, it is super important to just allow yourself to rest. Sometimes when you're a perfectionist, you're like, okay, I always gotta do something, I gotta achieve something, I gotta be perfect, I gotta be perfect, I gotta be productive, I gotta be whatever it is I'm supposed to be, that people will think that I'm amazing. Just chill, just rest, just find something you enjoy and do it, and not care about any projects, any work-related things, being perfect at all. Just rest and allow yourself to just be and exist without those labels. And trust me, this is really, really important. And of course, we gotta work on our self-esteem, right? I mentioned that self-esteem is something that contributes so much into being perfectionist. So there are a million ways I'm working with my therapist, for example, in order to fix my self-esteem, as well as, for example, this practice of accomplishments or trying something new. It helps me to build my self-esteem step by step, but it is such a long process. It just takes forever, but I do feel that there are already some achievements along the way. So I'm happy about that and I feel like I'm gonna achieve even more. So in conclusion, I just want to say, don't try to do it perfectly. You know that already, but don't try to do it perfectly. Just do it. Just do it and enjoy what you do, and you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be great, you're gonna get there. And I'm saying that as if I'm talking to myself right now. Please, just do it and just care a little less about what people think and try to get the experiences, analyze what you've done and you haven't done, and get the full picture. Don't just focus on the negative sides of like the things that you do. Remember your definition of success and try to have some fun along the way. So that's it for today. I hope you guys had a nice time with me, and I wish you, as usual, a beautiful and amazing and precious day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.